Okay, so thank you for joining me. Wow, that was interesting. Up here where it's freezing, below freezing actually, where I am visiting my family. So, hi everybody. Hi Sylvia, Katie, Sandra. Hello, Southern Spain. I love a wild, lovely one. So, let's dive in today. We're going to talk about the rose of Venus, which is a star point or a transit of Venus and the sun. Woo, just like that. And what's super, super cool about this is that it forms a rose or a very gorgeous sacred geometry shape. So if you look up, just looking for something to clean my glasses here. If you look up Rose of Venus and then you look at images, you'll actually find jewelry and things like that. I have an image to share with you. However, what this is really beautiful. And the other really important thing right now is that we're going into our next eclipse season, which is a week from tomorrow. I'm offline. Okay. Why am I offline? Okay. Like to go live here or switch to. Okay, I think I'm back again. You got to see me putting on my lips. Okay. I just see myself disappear and now I'm back. Good afternoon. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive into let's look at our screen. You see my glamorous background? Don't really need to see that, right? All righty, here we go. Let's take a peek at what we're doing today. So as I was saying, welcome to the Infinite Show. Akasha here. So wonderful to see you. So happy that you come and give yourself this information. It's so important. And the longer, I've been doing this for years, but not really as intently because I'm providing this information for you every week. It gives me an opportunity to be much more connected to it on a day-to-day basis, which in the last 6 months or so that I've been doing this has made a profound shift. So I hope that you really take these energies and you get some notes and you help yourself understand what's happening, what's coming up for you, as well as you help to use it to prepare. All right. So we're going to do the meditation next. And really what I want you to do is prepare for the equinox. Entering the rose or the star point of Venus is a really amazing thing, and we're going to talk about those energies. But first, I want to talk to you about the eclipse. So we have the solar eclipse coming next Tuesday and the lunar eclipse on the 7th, and they are in Scorpio and Taurus. And they're really offering another level. I've been talking a lot about Pluto going direct last week and a week or week and a half ago or something. And what does that mean? Well, Pluto is the energy, right, of the underworld, which isn't evil or death. It is the yin and the yang, okay? It is the shadow world. It's the part of us that is in the shadows or hiding or hasn't quite come out yet. Sometimes we have to go into our own underworld to find ourselves, to recover ourselves. And the journey of the hero or the heroine always requires that you leave your ordinary world. You get all kinds of magical help and you face your demons and you go through the underworld, and then you recover yourself, you reclaim it, and you're reborn, and you emerge back. And you merge back into the ordinary world again. But like in a session with my clients, as soon as you've done that session with me, you've changed. Everything we've done on other levels is absolutely affecting you. So what happens now as you remerge back into your 3D body? Do you go back to who you were? You do not. You do not go back to who you were after you watch this. Just this information is going into you. It's triggering things. It's remembering things. It's opening things. It's clear that you, on an inner level, your inner guidance or your soul wants you to hear this information. There's something powerful here for you to understand. Communication is happening all the time, all around us, all within us. It's us that have become distracted in the consumer greed, never enough world of I'm not good enough and I need this and I need that and all that other stuff, that we get separate from the fact that we have everything within us. So another level of that death and rebirth energy. So lots of things have been dying, right? Lots of ideas, lots of concepts, lots of judgments, lots of ways of going to school or ways of communicating or ways of buying food at a restaurant. Everything is breaking down and rebirthing. Okay, so don't get caught up in the death, oh no, death. Aren't there some things in your life you would like to complete? Okay, so the Venus is a completion too. So the eclipses in a little over a week will enter the most life-changing cosmic energies. I've had some kick your ass eclipses, so I'm extremely respectful of them because in the past I wouldn't have known that's what was going on. I would have just been like, what's happening in my life and whatever. And then I was constantly trying to learn to master my emotions and not run away with it and start to master my mind so that I didn't get caught up in other people's ideas of fear and pain and what things mean. And I slowly began over 30 some years to take back my power, my authority. And now I say, oh, I want to be informed. So the solar eclipse is followed by the lunar eclipse, and it's great if you know where in your blueprint any of these things happen. I can give you the overall energy, but then where they're going to hit you. For example, this next eclipse is major for me. It's hitting my chart in a very similar degree. It's hitting my chart in very interesting ways, and I'm happen to be visiting my family. I haven't seen them in 2.5 years. I'm super excited, and this eclipse is hitting me, and the Venus star point are hitting me in the house of family. So I have a lot going on, right? A lot of potential energies and possible energies. And here's a tip. If you know the energy the eclipse is bringing to you, do something to use the energy up. Instead of just sitting around and doing your routine and doing nothing out of the ordinary, learn a light body activation, increase your intuition, take a trip, do something that is moving you into and forward in this realm. Okay, so again, mentally, emotionally, all these different ways, it's going to affect you slightly differently, everyone, with an overarching theme. Okay, so most of all, energetically, spiritually, identity-wise, we have to prepare to change what you want. It's going to change. Okay, so we're preparing because you're going to change what you want at a profound level. This first eclipse, and next week, I'm going to talk about the next eclipse, but this week we're going to talk about the first eclipse, which is the solar eclipse. All right, so we have the beautiful energy of Venus transiting the sun. That's ending a cycle of 8 years, so more of that completion energy, more of that ready to be reborn, and the incredible sacred geometry pattern I'm going to show you. It's so gorgeous. Be sure to do the meditation again and again. So now we've been talking about those completions, like I said, and the equinox portal and all the rest of it. So when you see a message like this cycling up and down, if you're tracking these shows that I'm giving you, and you see that energy going up and then down and in and then out, completion, endings, we had so much energy, stuff being pushed to the surface. It could be relationships, it could have been whatever. Right now, because of the orientation, we are looking at a lot of relationship possibilities this week. So when you see that, it's best and it's easiest to release the past pain, end the toxic relationships, leave the draining jobs, houses, the countries, whatever you feel called to. When the energies are doing the dying, completing, look at it, complete it, move on energies, then to try and do it when we're in a renewal phase, because this is the biggest problem, being disconnected from these energies that we're a part of, that we're in, that we're affected by, but we want to take our big brains and say, no, we're more important than that. We can just push and forth and have our agenda and do whatever we want and don't have to worry about it. And you can do that and walk around clueless why you're having an emotion today or why something is happening. So when you pay attention to it, as much as we would rather be like, oh, it's happy, lovey-dovey energy day, all of these energies are serving us. They're cycling in and out. The ancients knew. They read the skies, all of the ancient cultures, and they could see the skies better than we could, and they communicated with them. And they had, beings coming down that they called gods or other things that we might now call aliens. I mean, they even have alien mummies, actual physical body mummies of aliens like we see with the big eyes, buried in Egypt, mummified with some of the pharaohs, and they were given an important position like an advisor. All right. So we know that there is a communication. We know that this is happening all the time. So it's easier to say, oh, okay, I'm going into this phase. I'm going to look at this painful relationship with my body, with the pain in my body, with my hips. I keep feeling my hips for some reason. Somebody here, oh, must be Sylvia, maybe. And you're going to go into that and say, like you go to a funeral. You don't want to go to a funeral, but you go to a funeral to pay respects, to say goodbye, to complete the process, maybe to see the person, maybe not, maybe to hear or to say something about them, to remember it, and to sort of put a bow on it. So do this with yourself. So it's an amazing, amazing time to be alive and aware that, because we're aware we're in the middle of a profound and massive shift. Now think about, the ancients had ways of communicating from pyramid to pyramid. They had ways of communicating from all different ways. They communicated with many more senses than we do now, because we've become very, very busy and noisy and clogged. However, there's also aspects of that where they didn't know what was coming. Like now we was like, oh, there's COVID in China, and now it's here, and now it's there. But in many, many years ago, you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know what was happening in China. You would know what was happening where you were. You would be connected to what was happening where you are. So we are expanding beings, whether you believe it or feel it yet or not. You're expanding. You're remembering your multidimensional nature. You're remembering your gifts and your talents. And wow, I have to tell you that my Intuition Awakening students are just blowing my mind. They're absolutely stunning. They're opening their senses to new light languages. They're astrally traveling. Some of them are reading multiple people in a situation. They're communicating with beings in other realms, having huge healing breakthroughs or crises that, are opening new pathways. And this is because they've said, I'm ready to step forward and focus, to give the attention to this aspect of me. And that's mystery school. When you understand yourself, you're understanding the mysteries of the universe. So they're surprising themselves. The readings are just absolutely mind-blowing. So it's such a thrill to watch the rebirth of our true multidimensional selves. So whatever you are doing, you can bring that into your daily life. Are you bringing your multidimensional self? Are you thinking outside the box? Are you sitting in your job, rising above the everyday drama, or what you think people think of you, or where you feel frustrated about your role, or where you don't feel like you're paid or acknowledged enough? Are you bringing this into every aspect of your life and changing how you see it, think about it, and so on? So this is a great time this next few weeks to really check in with your Akashic records, okay, during important cosmic events. And if you want to do an Akashic record reading with me, you can go to the shop. There's a link below. But just make sure that you realize you have very important things coming up, okay? So now let's look at the Rose of Venus, and I want to show you, okay, this should go, okay, so she, a very interesting way of doing this. Okay, so you don't need to see my notes. And this needs to move down here. All right, let's see if that worked. Okay, let's take a look at this. So we're still talking about eclipses. So I did this silly little drawing here to kind of show you what happens. So right now, the first eclipse is going to be the solar eclipse, the one on the bottom. Here's the sun, here's the earth, and here's the moon. The moon moves around the sun in that little dotted line. The sunlight comes to earth. And so what happens in a solar eclipse is it always happens on a new moon. And a lunar eclipse always happens on a full moon. And what happens in this situation is the moon blocks the light from getting to the earth. So you see where the little shaded darkness is. You want to see where the major close energies of planets are interacting with you. So you look at that, and between the eclipses, the energy is very intense. It's transformative, dark, and reflects the energies of these beings and bodies, the sun and the moon. Whereas we come out of that moment of darkness, what happens in that transition is quite profound. So a solar eclipse, I already told you that, it happens about every 6 months. And we have to now look then, what does the sun mean? What does the moon mean? What does the earth mean? So I keep giving you these during these if they're relevant to that particular week, but pretty soon we'll do some classes where we can really go in depth about each of these and you can look them up. So if the moon is your feminine, okay, it's your intuition, it's your inner light, but it's also the yin, it's also the dark, right? It's also the receptive, and it's also your emotions. The sun is the light. It's when you're bright. It's your personality, your expression, your ID, and definitely think about this, your identity, right? It's your ego, your growth, your light. All right. So that means that the energy of your emotions becomes so big, they block out your ability to feel your own sun, to feel your sense of self and purpose and light. So your identity is going to change. And that's what this next eclipse is about. So this next week is your opportunity to prepare. You don't have to prepare from fear. You don't have to prepare from, oh no, I have to do this or I haven't done that. You have to prepare by sitting and being with yourself. Talk to the moon. Talk to these aspects of yourself. Are you still really, really dominated by your masculine? Are you dominated by your personality, your ego? Are you super identified by, oh, how sexy and cute your body is? Are you still cute and young and perfect according to some fantasy magazine somewhere that has nothing to do with real people, and you don't think you can find love? Are you still super attached to the fact that you should have a more important job or you should make more money? Are you still whatever? Okay, so look at where's your ego and your current identity limiting you, holding you back, keeping you from expanding, keeping you from listening to your intuition, keeping you from becoming balanced. All right. So your identity is this opportunity is that your emotions are going to rise. So you want to be in a space where you can say, okay, I need to become the container that can contain and hold all of these big emotions, accept them, allow them, and allow them to move through. Not ruin my day. Let me yell at somebody. Let me think my life sucks. Okay. That's not what emotions are for. You let them rise. You receive them, you open to your intuition, okay? And then, wow. If you think about your intuition blocking your ID, this becomes extremely powerful. Now, I have a class tonight with my Intuition Awakening certification people. And it's an exciting and interesting time to be consciously doing this deep work on yourself in mystery school and to be opening up your abilities to communicate when we're moving towards a moment when our emotion or our sacred feminine or our intuition, our happiness or potential is getting so big that it doesn't want you to listen to your ego. What an opportunity that is. So there's plenty of ways to interpret this. And you could look at it as, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Or you could look at it as like, wow, I want to be ready to be present. I want to do at least a meditation on Tuesday. I want to at least take my lunch hour off. I want to at least plan time for myself in some way. I don't want to do violent things. I don't want to watch horror movies. I don't want to get into big dramatic situations with people. I want to be in peace because those emotions can be triggered and pulled around for so many things. It gets big, big, big and creates perceived darkness and shadows. So the opportunity here is to say, wow, if my intuition and my emotions get so big, they cut me off from who I think I am, is an opportunity to change who I think I am and align with a much more powerful idea of who I am. Okay, now I want to first show you this picture. So why these things are separated, I don't know. Looks like this is again in the wrong spot, so give me a second. There. All right, yeah. Let's take a look. We got a few more things here, I think, to talk about. That's the really big one, I think. Okay, so I think we've covered most of the eclipse, and just remember, you're going to shift into your internal identity. The feminine is internal. It's the deep, dark, sacred places. It's the womb. Almost like you're going to lose yourself in the dark and emerge with a new personality and way of expression. So like I mentioned, when you understand the cycles of the hero's journey, it is the archetypal journey that we are all on. And the eclipse is changing you on a profound level. And Venus is so active with many aspects this week and next week that you're going to walk away with a whole new idea of yourself on a very profound level. And then it will interact with whatever house Venus is in your personal natal chart. And like I said, everything is extremely synchronized for me right now. It was almost crazy looking at the energies I didn't even realize for now and next week, and where this eclipse is hitting me and where I'm going from there. And the reason for that is to think about this. I intuitively said, I feel like I should go visit my family in October. That was in July. Then I talked a little bit to them about it, let it sit. Then it rolled around, then it came back up. Then I talked to them a little bit more, things shifted. Then I checked on the charts, looked at what dates actually made sense to travel. Don't travel on an eclipse, please. And I know that your polite little, oh, I can't say that I can't travel on that day. Well, I'm sorry for you if you can't, because you're giving your life over to energies that you don't want, that aren't serving you. It's like saying, okay, I'll drink the bleach, even though it'll kill me. You think I should drink the bleach. I said I was going to drink the bleach. I don't want to upset anybody if I don't drink the bleach, okay? Please stop. Please stop. I want you to rise up and start to say, this is what's best for me, and I'm sorry I promised you I would help you move, but I can't on that day, okay? It's okay. Also, the eclipse is in Scorpio, so remember, it's a water sign. That's more emotion. Okay. And it's a fierce, determined, hardworking water sign. It represents also intuition. So that's magnifying this intuition, this sacred energy, this water and emotion energy. It's also magnetic and creative. It's very artistic, secretive. And so all these things are filled with emotion. And remember, the goal, so to speak, of the eclipse is to increase your emotions so much that they separate you from your old, outdated, limited identity of who you thought you were or you could be. So as intense as it is a portal of freedom. Okay, now let's look at the Rose of Venus. It's a sweet, soft, beautiful experience coming this week that you could already feel, most likely, and is an amazing completion of an 8-year cycle. So you can do that. You could look at the last 8 years of your life and think about what things have happened, what things have gone into retrograde and gone to a point and connected to the sun, to the star, and helped you become expressive. And it's a 5-pointed star. So are there 5 different times you maybe could see in the last 8 years where you reached a sort of a pinnacle where you were in alignment and then you went down back into retrograde? So that completion, that softness, this beautiful sacred rose pattern affects all of us with a blessing of rose energies, love energies, mother energies, light energies. We often, nowadays, it's very common and popular to equate the rose with Mary or Mary Magdalene or Mary, Mother Mary. And that's really just an embodiment of the sacred feminine, an archetype that has held strength despite being downgraded, as in the feminine has, and with Mary Magdalene from the perspective of being mislabeled, of being called a whore instead of a wife or a priestess or a queen. And that was intentionally done. Right? That was just part of the big overview of disempowering the sacred feminine, because the power over other people, hoarding things, thinking you're better than someone else, taking over their country, killing all the smart people, everything that was done in the Crusades, by the religions, by the countries, in the name of whatever, I want your shit, and is all been in the masculine out of balance energy. So this is important as well, because we're bringing balance back to the sacred feminine. And that is sorely, sorely missing on the planet. We have lack of compassion and lack of love, and we have structures in our society that don't respect not just women, but intuitive, sacred, feminine types of careers. And you're going to see a change in that. It's going to take years, but you're going to see a change. So as this energy of Venus aligns with the sun, again, remember what the sun means. It's light, it's your identity, it's growth, it's your expression. The incredible sacred geometrical pattern forms this shape. This is the shape, okay? And this is an image from, I thought I had left their website on here, redballoon.com, if you want to go buy this, okay? I borrowed their image. This is a piece of jewelry, but if you, like I said, if you look under images, you'll see all kinds of things. And this is the Rose of Venus, all right? So you can see in the center, you have this 5-pointed star or 5-petaled rose. The points at the tips are where the Venus has intersected the sun. And the final one is completing, as if somebody was drawing this like a spirograph, right? And completing it. That's what's happening on the 22nd this week. Look at this whole shape. If you've studied sacred geometry or not, sacred geometry is the formation of life. All life forms need sacred geometry, energies to form sacred patterns in order for duality to come and form to take place. There's nothing in a form, from a crystal, your phone, the computer, the desk, whatever, your body, that doesn't require a sacred geometrical structure. They all do. But look at how amazing this is. that from our perspective, this is what Venus does. So track 1, start at a loop. That's the retrograde, the little loops in the middle, and go out and track it all the way around. It goes all the way to the edge, and then it comes back in and comes and forms the next petal loop. And then it goes up, forms half of a petal, goes way out and around, and then comes back in and completes that petal, goes through a retrograde and does that. So this is the energy that you're in, that you're entering. And if you find a nice image of this and you look at it, you can meditate on it. You can soften your eyes, let the energy come into you, the flow of it speak to you. There's enormous power in this. All right, let's see. Did we get here? We got here. Okay, so when you see the loops, the retrograde, the points is when it comes, and it's the 29 degrees Libra. Why is that a big deal? Well, until I started to actually formally study astrology, I didn't understand the degrees being such a big deal. So when you look at your natal chart, it's a different language, right? It's just all kinds of different things going on. And when you say, oh, this is happening over here, the full moon is happening, or the eclipse is happening, the most important thing you can look at in your own chart is what degree it's at. And if there's anything anywhere in your chart that has that same degree, or maybe a very close degree, okay? The other thing to remember is 29 is the last. The first degree is 0. The last degree is 29. So it's like alpha and omega. It's the epiphany. It's the pinnacle of degrees. It's like if you've gone from 0, soft beginning, building, but building and building and building and building and building. And this is when you've gone from being in, kiddie softball to going to the Olympics, as my friend says. So Libra is about balance. It's about collaborations, decisions, justice, fairness, diplomacy, relationships. So that's going to be hitting here along with the Venus and the Sun energy, and making the Sun rose completion moment really intense. So you can see how it's like, hey, this is happening. But what does it mean? Okay, it means that your emotions are going to be high. It means this. But then we look at how many other things are also impacting and increasing that energy, or cutting that energy, or depleting that energy, right? So this is where it becomes really fascinating, because we're super complex, but we're moving so fast now. We're evolving so quickly at this point, and it's going to keep getting faster, that we're ready to be able to absorb this. So anything around 29, 28 in your chart, and I think that's about it, because we're completing things inside of a loving, divine feminine, coming back to your intuitive self, back to the loving embrace of the Divine Mother. And this is another very cool thing. Excuse me. Had to get some lemon water there. How cool is this? Venus goes from being a morning star to an evening star. I want you to think about the energy of that. The mechanics of it isn't important. It's because it meets the sun and they change places, basically, right? So it starts, instead of rising in the morning, which it always has done all year. So think about this. Venus has been rising in the morning. It's been our morning star. I go and look at the horizon every single day from my balcony in my bedroom on the 3rd floor. And I get to see all kinds of amazing things. And I always look for Venus. Now it's going to be an evening star. What does that mean energetically for you in your life? That's a huge orientation shift. And again, morning being bright, light, day, sun, masculine, ego, identity, growth, out there, making it happen. Venus is now going to be dark, feminine, hidden underneath, secretive, creative, what's going on inside of you. So your star, your love, is going deep also. All right, you're shifting your orientation from being within your feminine and you're shining from in that place. So there's a lot of beautiful energy here to help you shift into your intuitive, into your feminine, into your emotions, and use the masculine as a container, which is what we do. The masculine energy is meant to be a container. It's strong and it's out there. It's not meant to be violently beating people and taking people's money and being greedy and stealing money and countries and people and hoarding and then painting, writing history books that are complete lies about how great they were and putting up statues and having paintings made of themselves that are more attractive than they actually were in real life. I mean, we're growing up. We're realizing that our entire history is bullshit. It's just complete made up. Certain aspects might be, but we were taught you have to memorize this and this person and this date that they became great. They didn't become great. They became manipulative. They took over, and most of the great people of industry started and got their money from some kind of shifty, illegal, or violent, or unethical way. And I'm not insulting you or your family or anything that you believe in or anything like that. I'm just saying we're waking up because whatever country you were raised in, whatever state you were raised in, if it within the U.S., whichever religion you were raised in, whichever sex or gender you were raised as, affected what you were told about who you were and what has happened on the planet. So the perspective of we discovered and founded America, we all realize now is absolutely ludicrous. We basically barged into someone's house, took their hospitality, started stealing their stuff, killed them, and told them they had to go live in a trash can over there while we continued to take everything in sight and then paint ourselves as the great founder of whatever. I was just at a museum yesterday, so I found it extremely interesting that we have this awareness, this higher level of awareness now that we have a very faulty view of truth and history because, and there's no way to even find that out now. People fighting about I'm right and you're wrong and all this stuff. You want to find your bubble, find your circle, separate from that. We're creating a new world. We're separating and breaking down this old idea, the idea of some patriarch, a rule, society, government, person, father, mother, whatever. It isn't a gender thing when we come into that as much. It has been, but that was what we were experiencing. But one thing that's really interesting about the ancients and the way that they experienced their life was they had a very big perspective. They looked at the stars. The Maya, they predicted all the way out through now and beyond. People think it ended in 2012, but that's only because most of their culture was destroyed. They destroyed anything and anyone that could read, write, had powers, had glasses, had whatever. It's been done all over the world. Did the same thing in Vietnam and everywhere, you name it. And so they didn't want people with wisdom. They wanted to paint the barbarians, they wanted to say, oh, these barbarians, they sacrifice each other and have these evil rituals, which wasn't true either. So you want to let go of that identity. That's what we're going into. We have the opportunity for the whole planet to release the old identity and swell into the emotion of, oh my gosh, look what we've done, look what we've been, but now we can leave it behind. We've had that experience. We've fed it back to the whole. It's in the Akashic records. We can access it anytime we want, but we don't need to do that anymore. Okay, well, thank you for sharing my lovely hotel bedroom here. And I will, where are you guys? I will see you in a few minutes. You're so welcome. Good morning, Brittany. You're so welcome. And I will see you shortly for our Rose of Venus meditation. Okay, lots of love. Take care. Don't forget to check the shop if you want to have a session with me. You can join Intuition Awakening anytime. The actual class is instant access. And then when we start in the beginning of the year again, possibly at the end of the year, but probably at the beginning of the year when we start having live practice sessions again, anybody in Intuition Awakening can come. And if you buy Intuition Awakening when it's not live, like right now, you can do the courses and the activations and you can learn everything. And then when we have the live ones, we'll let you know and you can come to your practice sessions, okay? So I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful and blessed week. Namaste. Ciao.